Hey guys, it's Frank Cole here. I'm participating in Right On Con 2017. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm the author of 9 books, 8 of which are already in print. And then my new one is out in August of this year, 2017, called The World's Greatest Adventure Machine. I love it. It smells so good. And it's only the advanced copy. Can you imagine what the real copy is going to smell like? Just pure goodness. I actually wrote this story from multiple point of views. There's several characters in this book. You get to see into their minds a lot. There's a cool quote I found online. Human beings from their own point of view are very different than what people see. So true. I think real heroes don't often see themselves as such. They focus on their own limitations and shortcomings. They may realize the good they've done, but perhaps hone in on what they could have done better. And by doing so, we love them more. So the advantages. I think I kind of mentioned it. It allows the reader to get inside the head of another character and learn from them. You learn about their secrets, what drives them. It allows the reader to see how other characters truly feel about the protagonist. So in a way, it can be easier. Instead of trying to show the reader what one character, secondary character is feeling, based on what the main character sees, you can show them with a chapter inside their mind. Tip number 1, don't flip point of views in the middle of a chapter. Unless there's a chapter break, like, little ... and then there's a new paragraph and it's like a different place, different time. You can do it then. But in the middle of a chapter, don't flip-flop from one point of view to another. Disadvantages. It can be very hard. This book was hard. The editor at Delacorte came back and said, I really want to see inside all of these kids' heads. I was given the task of rewriting the book and giving equal time to all 4 of the main characters. And that was hard because it wasn't just one main character and one secondary character getting some time. It was 4 and a secondary character. And the disadvantages are you have to come up with fresh, unique voices for each one. I was submitting my chapters and I submitted it to her and I said, do I need to do chapter headings and say, this is Nika, this is Trevor, this is Cameron, this is Devin? And she's like, no. And I was worried about it. And this is before I actually submitted it to her. And she said, if you do it right, the reader will know. So no pressure. You've got to be able to open the book and read the chapter and know whose mind you're inside of and not have the reader guessing. And that's difficult. There comes a moment where you decide, when am I going to flip? When am I going to switch to this other character? If you're trying to enhance a cliffhanger and you do it right, I really want to leave the reader hanging for a little bit and have them just kind of questioning and wondering what's going on. I don't want to reveal the answer just yet. I don't want them to go to the next chapter and go, oh, this is what happened. I want them to take a break and weave in the other plot that's going on or the subplot that's going on. That's a good time to keep the pacing going. Tip number 2, if the reader's not supposed to know what's going on and the main character, your protagonist, doesn't know what's going on, don't accidentally reveal it from the perspective of the villain or some other character that knows what's going on. You never want these secondary chapters to distract from the main storyline. It needs to serve a purpose. It's important to determine which characters are going to will receive that nod. They need to be likable characters, and it doesn't mean they have to be nice characters or good characters. They could be evil characters. I've read some books where you see inside the mind of the bad guy, and that's awesome if it's done correctly. This is day 2, same person, different shirt, same color. I've shaved a little bit. I groomed it. Anyways, so how do you do this? How do you write from multiple point of views? Number 1, you got to make sure you have good transitions at the end of the previous chapter. So if at the end of one chapter, you're ending from one point of view and the new chapter is going to be from some other character's perspective, good transitions are important. This is kind of tricky. You don't want it to feel like you've ended in the middle of a thought that needs to be finished. I don't know how to end this, so I'm just going to end it, and then the next chapter will pick up where I left off. If there's not a good transition, not some type of closure, and even a cliffhanger is closure. You've come to some point in the story where a resolution is going to happen eventually. Therefore, when you start your new chapter, it makes more sense. The flow is consistent. I personally like to write right now in third person. I think it lends itself, makes it easier for me when writing for multiple POVs. It allows the narrator to kind of set the stage for the reader. You want your characters to have authentic voices and personalities, but it definitely helps to bring the reader up to speed quickly when the narrator is able to give you kind of a snapshot of what's going on. If you're writing in first person, you'll need to make sure the opening of the new chapter is clear on who is speaking, because you'll be inside the character's mind. And you'll see their thoughts. If the characters are too similar, it's going to be very difficult for the reader to grasp what's going on. There really aren't rules that establish how many chapters in a row you can be inside one of the characters' minds. It doesn't have to be alternating chapter. I mean, you can do that, but there's no rule that says you have to do that. If a particular sequence is longer and lots of things are happening and it requires 2 or 3 chapters in a row, that's fine. But it's very important. You have to make sure that what's happening in the chapter is happening in front of the character. They can see it. You can't have a secretive conversation going on in the corner and your main character's not involved, because they can't hear it. I mean, you can have a secretive conversation, but the character that's not involved, your main character, is going to have to speculate of what's going on and maybe, guess and maybe have suspicions and frustrations. Also, watch your mannerisms. If your character closes their eyes for long sequences of time, other characters can't frown or fidget with something on their face, because your main character can't see it. If they can't see it, it doesn't happen. Here's the basics. Make sure you have good transitions at the end of your chapter, that you're not leaving the reader hanging in an unsatisfying way. Cliffhangers are great. Hooks are great. Make them want to find out what's going on. Make them really worried about your character or worried about the scene that's happening, but don't just leave it in the middle of a thought. That's not a good way to start any chapter, especially ones when you're swapping POVs. Never flip-flop in the middle of a chapter. Keep that consistent. And then anything that happens in that scene happens from the perspective of your character that you're writing from. Okay, so that's it, guys. I'm very grateful for the chance to talk with you. Hopefully, you can make sense of what I said. I'd be happy to chat with any of you. Hopefully, we'll have some Q&A afterwards, and you guys might have some questions that I can answer. If not, that's okay. My feelings won't get hurt. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, have a good conference, and hope to see your books out there soon. I really do.